Today I want to walk you through a structural shift in the US real estate market. Not a cycle, not a slowdown, a correction. For decades, the 6% commission model survived technological change, survived transparency, and survived consumer frustration. But it survived because it was protected. What we are witnessing now is what I call the uncoupling, the breakdown of the bundled protectionist fee structure that defined the industry for generations. This is a market analysis and a forward-looking forecast. The conclusion is simple. The mechanisms that sustain the 6% standard are gone, and the economics no longer justify it. This is Steve Colino, and this is an important confidential remarks. In most service industries, the internet reduced costs. Travel agents were disintermediated. Stockbrokers went to near zero commissions. Technology compressed margins by eliminating friction and automating access. But real estate did the opposite. Commission rates not only resisted deflation, they held firm and in many cases rose in dollar terms. That is the anomaly. The internet created a deflationary wave across services, yet real estate missed it. Or more accurately, it was insulated from it. This is not normal market behavior. When technology lowers distribution costs, but pricing remains fixed, that signals structural protection. When we step outside the United States, the pattern changes immediately. In the United Kingdom, average listing fees sit around 1.5%. In Australia, closer to 2.5%. Both markets have access to the same internet tools, the same AI capabilities, and the same digital infrastructure. Yet US commissions remain roughly 6%, 60 to 80% higher than comparable markets. That gap is not a technology gap. It is not a cost gap. It is a structural gap. The US system supports roughly 1.5 million agents competing for the same transaction volume. Lower fee markets forced consolidation and efficiency. Ours preserved fragmentation. This is not a cost necessity. It is a productivity failure. In 1995, an agent's primary marketing expense was a yard sign and perhaps a newspaper listing. A few $100s connected seller to buyer. Technology was supposed to remove friction. Instead, it inserted a new gatekeeper. Today, customer acquisition runs through portals and search platforms. Zillow, Realtor.com, Google. Visibility is no longer organic. It is purchased. And that purchase can cost thousands per month. In most industries, technology removes the middleman. In real estate, it added one, Silicon Valley. That dynamic turned efficiency into a tax. Agents maintained high commission rates because the cost just to show up in search results escalated dramatically. Technology did not reduce fees. It reshuffled who got paid. For years, the industry operated under a structural mechanism that reinforced the 6% norm. Sellers were required to preset the buyer agent's compensation. If that compensation was low, agents could, and often did, steer buyers toward higher paying listings. The gatekeeping function created an artificial price floor. Even if technology made it cheaper to market and transact, sellers faced a coordination problem. Offer less and risk reduced exposure. This is why fee compression stalled. The market could not discipline pricing because steering neutralized competition. The turning point came in 2024. The legal challenges dismantled the participation rules that effectively bundled commissions and required sellers to pay both sides. Before, the system was simple. The seller paid both agents, fees were embedded, and steering reinforced the norm. Now we are entering the era of unbundling. Buyers pay their own way, fees are negotiable, and steering is legally dangerous. The enforcement mechanism that protected the 6% structure is gone. When you remove structural protection from a high-margin system in a digital economy, price compression follows. Historically, the agent's value proposition evolved. In the 1990s, the value was access. The agent had the listings, the consumer did not. In the 2010s, the value shifted to convenience. Agents curated what buyers could already see online. By 2026, AI automates search, automates marketing copy, automates contract drafting, virtual staging, and targeted advertising. As labor becomes automated, the agent's role compresses toward liability management and negotiation oversight. When effort declines, but pricing remains tied to asset value, the economic logic collapses. The justification for a large percentage-based fee evaporates as the labor component disappears. Consider a median transaction in 1995. A $130,000 home at a 3% commission generated roughly $3,900 in revenue. That required manual paperwork, physical tours, newspaper advertising, and substantial coordination. Now consider a $420,000 median home at the same commission rate. Revenue exceeds $12,000, yet listing photos are taken on a smartphone. Search is automated, documents are digital, marketing is algorithmic. Revenue has tripled, while manual labor has declined dramatically. This is not inflation. It is a pricing model that scales with asset value rather than effort, and that model becomes unstable once transparency and automation converge. In a post-uncoupling environment, strategy changes. First, unbundle, negotiate listing fees directly, and resist prepaying the buyer's agent. Second, know your alternatives. Flat fee MLS options can list properties for a few $100s, creating credible leverage in negotiation. Third, use the AI defense. When marketing costs are cited as justification for high fees, anchor to reality. Virtual staging can cost $20. Targeted ads may cost $100. Contract automation is increasingly standardized. The industry may try to ignore the technology, but you do not have to. What we are witnessing is a pincer movement. On one side, legal reform has dismantled the structural protection that sustained the bundled 6% model. On the other side, AI and automation are compressing the labor required to transact. When protectionism declines and efficiency rises, pricing converges toward economic reality. Globally, that reality looks closer to 1.5% than 6%. The future of real estate compensation is not about eliminating agents. It is about right-sizing costs to match value. And once markets regain the ability to price value correctly, efficiency is not optional. It is inevitable. This has been Confidential Remarks.